Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of our R6S podcast. Today, I have a Patreon with me. She is somebody who's joined our R6S tribe. I actually think you were probably the third person to join, so I appreciate you, and you actually signed up for one of our higher packages too. So, Deborah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting everything that we're doing, and it seems like you've known me for a while. Tell me your story.
Yes, I have. And I actually pronounced my name Deborah.
Deborah, my apologies.
That's okay, because I'm special.
Okay, Deborah, you got it.
Well, the first time I guess, met you was through Instagram, and you posted, "Hey, would you like to learn to be an influencer?" I said, yes.
And what year was that?
Maybe because people have been influencing me all of my life, and that's why I'm the type of person I am today.
What year was that? Do you remember?
2018, December 2018.
Okay, almost a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Oh, that's right, almost.
Very cool. So if you don't mind,
I've been following you ever since.
I appreciate that very much. The fact that you choose to spend some of your time with me virtually means a lot to me, because you know me by now. I have 3 lesions in my brain, and the one thing that I value more than anything else is my time, because it's the only commodity or only asset that I just can never regain. So the fact that you're choosing to spend your life with me too, it just means a lot.
I listened to your TED Talk, and that was really what sold me on following you.
Thank you.
It really moved me. And you're right. And that's why I do what I do, because of time. I have more time behind me than I have ahead of me.
Very
and I
cool.
want to make the best of it.
Well, let's talk about that. I want to break this podcast into 3 sections, because I think that's how it's going to be most useful to our audience as well. Let's talk about your past. I want to talk about what you're doing currently today, and then let's talk about your future as well, because it seems like you're up to some cool stuff. So tell me a little bit about your background first.
Sure. I suffer from middle child disease.
Okay. All right.
I've always been set loose on my own, so I've been able to cultivate my creativity and imagination.
Okay.
I worked in corporate for 16 years, and I was blessed to come up during when the civil rights changes were coming. So there were a lot of sensitivity programs. Mm-hmm. And I was put through a lot of leadership training. So I got my leadership training through corporate.
Awesome.
In 1985,
wow,
I struck out on my own to start my own business. There were a lot of layoffs going around, and I was offered 26 weeks pay.
Wow, interesting.
And I took it.
Good for you. Smart decision.
You don't hear about that anymore.
No.
I got paid for 26 weeks. And the first thing I bought was an IBM PC. I was one of the first consultants working with an IBM PC back then. So my whole being is based on computers. I'm a computer programmer by, corporate training, and went on to be a computer consultant. Started my publishing business in 1998. I've helped first-time writers get published because I knew how hard it was going to be for them. Oh, yeah. Because I am a writer, and I knew how hard it was for me. So I said, okay, so I'll start my own business. And that's really the part of the disease of being a middle child. If people don't let you play with them, you do it on your own.
You're going to have to explain that a lot more to me, because, I told you this over text as well. I am fascinated by your motivation to do better and to do more, because not a whole lot of people have been in the position that you've been. What do you attribute that to? Were your parents really motivated people? Did you have a mentor growing up? Or where does that fire come from?
The fire comes from my father and my grandfather.
Okay.
Both of them were business people. And also my mother, who didn't work in business, but she worked all the time. We didn't know that we were poor. We always had food on our table. We always had the best clothes to wear.
Right.
I mean, we were the 5 Wilsons from Germantown, we were called.
Okay.
Our cousins were country bumpkins, and we were city bumpkins. And I apologize, cousins, for using those terms. But we were always taught to do better. We were never slighted. There were some difficult times that I've gone through, and I was able to survive those times. And I believe that's what even makes me even more excited about life, because I've lived through some tough times, and here I am still smiling.
I know. That's what's fascinating to me too, and I've never heard you ever use an excuse for anything. So again, like you obviously grew up in an era where there was a lot of discrimination. There was a lot of sexism. There still is today to this day, right? Even as much as I try to blend in with anybody and everybody, I still get my fair share of hate mail and messages and so on and so forth. So I can't imagine doing what you were doing, and I'm pretty sure you were probably facing some scrutiny too. Oh, what is she doing? What is Deborah doing? Like kind of leaving the corporate world and trying to do this on her own. Yeah?
Oh, yeah. But I never paid attention to it. I didn't let it, just like...
there's a saying out there, one of my most favorite influences out there. One time she said something like, other people's perception of you is none of your business. And
that's exactly right. That's
just
exactly
not our business. I love it.
I have been shielded from a lot of discrimination because of my parents.
Gotcha.
and different things in my life. I've just been very blessed. That's all I could. I've written about it. I'm writing about it. So the books will be available soon.
Okay, very cool. But, is it going to be on Amazon, or where can people find your book?
Well, it will be on my website, yourinnerconfidence.com.
Cool.
/smart. I have to.
Why don't you do this? Guys, I'm going to include a link down in the description below. Deborah is going to send me that link. What I'm going to do, I'm going to include it down in the description below. Yeah. Just look out for that.
Yeah, and you'll see all of the books that I've published for individuals, and mine is also included. And I will be adding the future ones, Beautiful. But I call my clients smart sojourners because we're all on a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really looking, what motivates me is getting people off of the couch.
Love it.
Get away from watching a lot of those TV shows that are just killing your brain cells. And I've seen in the past so many people work in corporate for many years, go on to retirement, and they're dead within 2 to 3 years because they have no motivation to live. They're just waiting for, their time to come. And I am so totally against that.
I couldn't agree with you more, my sister. Unfortunately, I saw my great-grandparents go through the same thing. I actually kind of saw my grandparents also kind of go through the same thing too. So I agree with you. I think it may have been Freud that said love and work are the two things that you need in life to be happy. And I think that's where majority of us human beings for the past 200,000 years that have been modern species, we've always had a goal. And our goal was like, I need to eat by the end of the day. I need to feed my family. And once you take that goal away from us, and don't get me wrong, I love the fact that we live in America. Growing up in 7 different countries, growing up in Middle East, I understand and I love the freedoms that we have here, right? But I feel like at some point it creates a dichotomy, right? It creates a little bit of a paradox. We are so secure that we become self-insecure, right? Do you agree with that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we get into it's an area of being complacent. You just live your day, you wake up, you go through whatever you go through, but there are no goals in your life.
Right.
Every day I wake up, I have a devotional period where I thank the Lord for, allowing me another day to get it right. Whatever I did yesterday, I can do it better today. And then I make a list of I block out my time because I work from home.
Right.
I live in a house with my retired husband. His mother lives with us. And now because of the virus, his daughter is here with us until, she can move on to where she wants to go. And so there's 4 adults in the house that I take care of in addition to having my business.
Wow.
So I block out my time, excuse me. And I've been blessed over the past 4 years, really, in creating this sanctuary, where we are safe. We don't have to worry about the negative things that are going outside of our home.
I love it. Let's transition. Let's talk about what you're doing today. What's your job? What's your career like? What are you working on today?
How much time do we have? Okay. For the past 4 years, I've self-trained myself, put myself into college.
Okay.
Smart Lifestyles University. My last name is Smart, so everything I do is smart.
Okay, very nice. Love it.
So my business is One Smart Lady Productions and Publications. The One Smart Lady Productions is my editing, video production, and podcasting piece. The publishing is still tied to my Gladstone Publishing Services is my publishing company.
Got it.
So that's tied to actual ebook publishing.
Right.
So that's the umbrella. Now, under the One Smart Lady Productions, what I have put in place is I am now associated with a community called the 4% Community, which teaches how to build an affiliate marketing business, or if you have your own products, how to market your products, or how to create your marketing hub on the internet. And that's my site, yourinnerconfidence.com. Everything about me is on that site.
Got it.
If there is not connected like old style website, I can make independent pages and just send them to whatever I'm, talking about at that time. That's what I want to teach people how to do. And it's really straightforward and easy.
Mm-hmm.
I signed up with Patron because that was the last piece of my puzzle. I needed a place to have a membership site.
Bingo. Love it. Very cool. Very cool. So you were not kidding when you said you are tech savvy, and obviously we're not going to get to your age because you mentioned how old you are, but I don't
mind. I'm celebrating. I will be 70 on June 24th.
High five. You are amazing. Sincerely, my sister. I am so inspired by your fire. It's incredible because when you figured out how to work with Patreon, I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting because as soon as you saw mine, you kind of set up yours too. I saw your package and everything else. It's like, no, so not only she's smart, she's a visionary, she's tech savvy, and your writing skills are actually very impressive as well. That's amazing. Very, very inspiring.
I've been writing since I was 14.
Very cool. So let me ask you about that. Here's my personal philosophy. God sometimes gives certain gifts to certain people, right? We have no control over that, right? So he gives the gift of producing oxygen to trees, and he expects trees to produce oxygen, not for themselves, but for everybody else around them, right? As a spiritual person, it seems like you and I share the same views on life as well. What do you do to make sure you're fulfilling your higher goal as well while you're fulfilling your own goals?
Well, I have to go back a little bit. I am very connected to the Lord's Word. I am a certified biblical counselor.
Oh, very nice.
I had to go through therapy myself to overcome a lot of past ills, as I said. And I just stay in touch, as I said, every morning, devotion, to listen. I truly believe, even before we came on, I called the Holy Spirit in to please guide my mouth because I can just run off with anything. Please keep me focused. So I am spiritual. I know I'm a spirit being here for a temporary purpose. And I really believe my purpose is to take all that I've learned and the gifts that I've been given and sharing them and teaching people how to use their gifts. As a matter of fact, 2-3 years ago, I taught for a month at our church spiritual gifts.
Wow.
And we took everybody through the process of learning what their spiritual gifts are with the intention of helping them understand how they can use them in the Christian world.
Beautiful. I love that. Very nice. Guys, for some of you who are following me out there, you probably know by now, here's my little philosophy when it comes to goals and purpose. I don't necessarily believe in goals because for me, I don't think God made us with goals. I don't look at a tree thinking that, oh, what's your goal? Do you want to grow 6 inches taller, or how much water do you want to, how many liters or cubic liters do you want to, of oxygen do you want to produce, right? But I love what you said, Deborah. I think your purpose is what matters the most, because sometimes as human beings, and forgive me for saying this, I can only speak for myself. I'm not that smart. I don't understand the cosmos. I don't understand the whole entire ecosystem. It's like having an ant on the tip of my finger right here. If I try to explain to this ant how big state of Nevada is, or how big the United States is, or how big, or how the geographical, political arena works, and so on and so forth, you just can't comprehend, right? And I'm not here to try to figure out what God God's wisdom is. I just want to listen as far as what my job is. What do you need me to do? If I'm a wind, my job is to blow, not for myself, but for everybody, so I can help pollinate other trees, right? So some of you sometimes reach out to me and say, hey, Ash, I don't know what my goal is. I don't really know what I should be doing. And that's where I go back to listen to what Deborah said just now. Every day, every morning, if you start with a prayer, if you ask the Lord, if you ask yourself, if you ask the universe, whatever you believe, whatever is most comfortable for you, right? If you say, hey, what am I supposed to be doing? Sometimes meditation works. I don't know if you try meditation or not.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Beautiful, right? Sometimes getting in touch with yourself, understanding what am I supposed to be doing today, putting that smile on your face and making sure that every single day that goes by, you are 100% true to that feeling and those obligations that you're making to yourself on a daily basis. Correct me if I'm wrong, Deborah. I think it adds a lot to your own happiness because you're like, oh, I got this done today. And also, you end up surrounding yourself with a lot of like-minded, similar people, and those people will almost always love you forever. So that's my recommendation. You don't have to have a goal, right? The rest of us. You don't have to figure out, okay, how much money do I want to make today? How much money do I want to make this year? What's my profit margin? Maybe those kinds of goals are not yours. Maybe having a 401k is not your thing. That's totally fine. For me, and this is something I learned from somebody very smart, Deborah. Somebody said, the multi-billionaire that yet bought another $150 million yacht, his happiness levels are from 0 to 100%. That poor El Salvadorian farmer whose goat gave him milk for the first time too, his happiness levels are also from 0 to 100%, right? So it doesn't matter where you're at in your life. It doesn't matter what your goals are. As long as you're fulfilling your purpose, I think that's what it's about.
That's it. And I've been so blessed that at the right time, the right people have come into my life, and he sends me individuals who need what I have to offer. And it's very rare that I get someone like I don't want to deal with. It's very, very rare these days.
For sure. I love that, and I think that has to do with who you are as well. If you're an open-minded human being, if you travel around, if you happen to see, you know what? As far as like in 7 different countries that I've lived in, it seems to me everybody bleeds red. It seems to me the sky's blue everywhere I've gone, except London, which was a little foggy, but still, sky was still blue, right? But somewhere. And majority of us, Deborah, like at the end of the day, when you start thinking about it, majority of us want to have a nice life, be peaceful, go to bed happy, and do what we need to do for ourselves. So I don't think we're too different as human beings, but sometimes I think the outside noise is what bothers us. And I love the fact that you start every day with prayer because that shuts everything else out. It focuses on what's inside you.
Yes. And there are times during the day there may be something that kind of throws me off kilter. But as I said, I'm blessed. I have this room here that I can come to and just go into prayer or meditation. I play music constantly as I'm working. Depending on if I'm editing, it'll just be instrumental. But sometimes I need to hear the words for uplifting, so.
Couldn't agree with you more. So let's go to the last section that I want to cover with you, which is your future. What are you doing? Let's talk about that as far as your trajectory goes.
Well, my future is on 2 levels. One, business, I found that I really want to focus on working with people in 2 age groups. One, 55 plus, thinking about transitioning into retirement, and also those who are already retired, 65 plus, who are on a limited budget. And this is what my catchphrase is. I want them to know that retirement is not the end; it's the beginning.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what I'm working on, putting together programs that will attract those 2 groups of people, business-wise. Personally, I realized that for the past 35 years, I've been self-employed. I've been so busy, I forgot who I am.
Love it.
I don't know what it is to be a woman. I know what it is to be a businesswoman.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And at this stage in my life, I only really see business. I don't see pleasure, So I have to learn now to step back. And I do have a mentor who is helping me with that. Beautiful. To step back and really identify what does Deborah want?
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with you.
Serving everybody else. What do I want?
I've never seen a beautiful, fruitful tree that doesn't take nutrition from earth itself, So for me, it's important for you to have you around, but if you don't take care of yourself, then we're not going to get the best of you either, right? Because if the tree is not taking enough nutrition, then the fruits are not going to be as good either. And I said that with all the respect. I know you're trying your best, but I can't stress how important you are, because we need our leaders. And you see what's going on around the world today. We need leaders today more than ever before. And I sincerely, I look at this, like I get goosebumps just talking to you. Like I sincerely am inspired by what you're doing, and I love the fact that you are so motivated and you're serving a community that typically gets overlooked.
Yes, and I didn't even mention the silent years, the ones who are like 80 and above. They still have so much left to tell.
Absolutely.
That is my biggest challenge, is to get them to tell their stories before they pass on.
100%. I met some veterans from World War II, and I was just like, no way. What, can we sit down? And everybody is more than happy to sit down. And I was just like, wow, the fact that you spent so much of your time with me as a minority, as a foreigner, as somebody that I don't even feel like sometimes I deserve to have all these luxuries. Looking around the world, 7.5 billion people, how lucky did I get to get picked up from Middle East, get dropped off in the best country ever, right? So for me, the fact that a lot of our elders are willing to spend time with me and help educate me, I really love it, because at some point I realized Google doesn't have all the answers, and sometimes they filter things based on their own, agendas and so on and so forth. So if I can have access to a lot of experience and expertise and wisdom, I'm more than happy to do it. Last question for you, my sister. What can I do for you to actually show you the fact that I want to support you and I'm happy with what you're doing? What can we do as a tribe to make sure we're behind you?
Well, as I go through Patron, I'll be sending you questions. So just be open to my questions.
I kind of think your head is in the party zone. It's called Patreon, not Patron. But I'm just using that as a joke.
Patreon. Patreon.
I like Patron better. I know what you. See, what goes around comes around.
That's right. Patreon I like better than Patron.
Very cool.
Patron sounds like father.
For sure. If you have any questions,
Patreon, I got it. Patreon.
Perfect.
I will be so active in that over the next couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to launching my first podcast, and my podcast will be in like 3 different tracks.
Okay.
One's going to be about my journey, telling people how. I mean, it's not going to be long-winded, maybe 3 to 5 minute bites, but telling people how I got to where I am. Another track will be about the publishing business.
Beautiful.
How to write your book. It's called Just Write. And then the other one, it will be interviewing my different authors and people who I've met along the way. So one is focused on me. One is focused on, publishing the business itself. And then the third one will be giving first-time writers an opportunity, because they don't get that. They get their books, they stand behind the tables, and they hope people come buy their book.
For sure, 100%. Tell you what, Deborah, we can swap services. I'm happy to help you with Patreon or anything else you need if you can help me write my first book. Because I've been approached by many people saying, hey, why don't you write your book? Like, you have a pretty decent story, especially your past and how you grew up as an immigrant, how you made your first million as a 26-year-old, how you blah, 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 blah. And, as a millennial, I've just never really gotten around to writing books. I'm much more comfortable with video formats or audio formats and so on and so forth. But I will love, love, love to have a book too. So if you can help me with that, I'm down to help you with the Patreon stuff.
I would be honored. I would be honored to work on that project, definitely.
The honor will be mine. Very cool. Thank you so very much for choosing to spend some of your morning with us. It definitely means a lot.
Thank you for having me. This is just an awesome blast. My husband was getting whiplash. Oh, I'm almost on. Oh, how do I look? Oh, I'm like a little kid. I know. I don't look my age. I'm sorry.
Well, I think it's the soul of yours that we're mostly attracted to. And, the digits are just like, I don't care for your zip code. It's just a digit. Very beautiful. Very cool. Thank you so much again. Really appreciate you being here, and really appreciate for what you're doing for our community as well. And if anything else comes up, let us know, okay?
I will definitely do that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Tribe, if you hear something from us that resonates with you, please share it with other people. Talk about it. Don't keep it just to yourself. Conversation creates more education. And also, always fact check everything you hear. So hopefully this creates more education for you, more conversation. Talk to each other, talk to your family, talk to your friends about it.